ladies and gentlemen, you hated her before, now you'll hate her again. The king of King's College, Scarlett Spager.
Thank you. I'm taking all of your scholarship money. I really appreciate all you guys paying full price. You out in the front, you especially. Mr. Marion Catholic. Okay, let's get right into it. My uncle turned himself into the feds today. That is the right response. Let's unpack this together. Okay, so he took an illegal trip to the Capitol in January. You may or may not be familiar. Well, that little trip ended up here today with a guilty plea. But let's backtrack. Let's start at the beginning. Basically, yeah, what he did was wrong. But you know what's extra wrong? The fact that he did it in such a lame way. Like, people were going crazy out there. And he was there, and I'm quoting his legal defense, for 8 minutes, and he was pushed in. If you're gonna do it the right way. He didn't even get a souvenir. I know every class trip I went on, I did not leave without a souvenir. This is not what I want to stand for. Like, literally generations of ancestors who owned random small businesses for money laundering purposes and got away with it in my family, they're looking down and saying, this is what they get our name for? 8 minutes and a selfie? You're not even gonna steal like a stolen sword from Asia, or a rug from Asia, or a tusk gifted to us from Asia. All these priceless things were at your disposal, and you took a selfie. And now we're here. I'm seeing it on the news, and I get a phone call from my mom, and she's like, listen, I'm getting a lot of calls about your uncle being on the news. And I'm like, listen, I'm sorry, we're gonna get through it. And she said, no. Everyone told me he looked good. And I'm like, gee, well, I guess that's all we can hope for at this point, because that's all we have going for us. That he looked like one of the better criminals walking out of a Scranton federal courthouse. Like, I'll admit it, him and his attorney had on like matching ties. His attorney was my grandmother's prom date. Like, I have, like, definitely the best shot of the Scranton courthouse. And that's something, like, I think that you can aspire to be anything in any situation. And if you're gonna be the worst, you gotta be the best dressed. Yeah, but it's been a weird time nonetheless. People hate him. People hate the man who taught me how to ski very openly on social media. And I mean, like, some of them, yeah, I get it. You know, he deserved it, or like, you know, waiting for this a while. But the one lady, let's call her Madge, her profile looks like a Madge, said very firmly, I have been waiting a long time for this. There's so many things wrong with that. Like, one, you have so much more to live for, sweetheart. Like, I know you do. I don't know who you are. I mean, even if it's just the stimulus check, like, there's better things to wait for than, you know, a man walking into a courthouse to admit his guilt for, again, breaking and entering and not taking, which is just such a waste of your time, if you ask me. But, I mean, a lot of people in my area, like my small town, hate him the most, which is a weird feeling because he's just one of them. And it's hard to think that a town full of tax evasion and money laundering and tax evasion could condemn such a meaningless crime. Like, let me put it this way. Old Forge is like if you took all of New Jersey, everyone, like every last bit, even Cape May, and you just boop, right in a 3-mile radius, garlic and all. Yeah. Like, if HBO sat down all of the execs for The Sopranos and said, we don't have enough money to make this show anymore in California. Some guy in the back, balding, in a bowling shirt, eating a piece of pizza with American cheese on it instead of mozzarella, said, I know just the place. And that place is my hometown, and that's my uncle.